The British forces captured and burned Benin City. They deliberately destroyed the palace complex. They looted thousands of bronze plaques and sculptures, ivory carvings, and other treasures. They took this to England, where they were sold to museums and private collectors. Oba Ovonramwen fled, but was eventually captured. The British deposed him and sent him into exile, where he died in 1914. Benin's independence, maintained for over 6 centuries, ended in violence and plunder. The looting of Benin's treasures had profound consequences. When the Benin bronzes arrived in Europe, they caused a sensation. The artistic sophistication was undeniable. This created a problem for colonial ideology. European scholars invented absurd theories, claiming Africans couldn't have made them. The British conquest of Yoruba land was more gradual but equally complete. The Yoruba civil wars had exhausted the region. The British positioned themselves as mediators. By 1900, Britain formally declared the protectorate of southern Nigeria. By 1914, the diverse peoples of the region were subjects of the British Empire. The standard colonial narrative portrayed African societies as primitive and lacking governmental sophistication. But the reality of Oyo and Benin reveals something very different. Consider Oyo's constitutional system. The Oyo Messi could force an Alafin to commit suicide if he failed in his duties. This concept that rulers can be held accountable and removed through institutional processes is often presented as a European innovation. But Oyo had developed similar principles independently centuries before European contact. The balance between the Alaafin's religious authority and the Oyo Messi's political power created a system of checks and balances. Neither could act alone. This prevented the emergence of absolute tyranny. Benin developed different mechanisms for similar ends. The tension between hereditary nobles and appointed officials created competing power centers. The Iyoba could influence decisions independently. The craft guilds held economic power that gave them political leverage. These weren't primitive despotisms. These were sophisticated political systems that managed competing interests and created mechanisms for succession and accountability. Another hidden element is the role of women in these empires.